I used to wonder why people drift away from me. At first, I blamed time, life, distance. The usual excuses: we grew apart, people change, we're just busy. But after a while, the pattern became harder to ignore. Different people, same outcome. Closeness fading into silence. Texts unanswered. Plans postponed. Energy growing cold. And eventually, I had to face the truth. Maybe I'm the common denominator. That realization doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable to admit that I might be the one pushing people away. Not with cruelty. Not even with intention. But with habits I didn't know I had. So I started digging. And here's what I found. Sometimes I disappear emotionally, not because I don't care, but because I don't know how to show up when I'm not okay. Sometimes I judge too quickly, not out loud, but silently, pulling away when someone doesn't meet the version of them I created in my head. Sometimes I expect people to read my mind, to know when I'm hurting, when I'm overwhelmed, when I need connection. But I never say it. And sometimes, I get so caught up in my own world, my dreams, my stress, my healing, that I forget friendship is not passive. It needs to be nurtured. I realized I'd fallen into a dangerous pattern, only reaching out when I needed something. Only being present when life felt light. Only showing vulnerability after I'd cleaned it up. And people feel that. They may not say it, but they feel it when your presence is conditional. When your check-ins come with an agenda. When your support is a one-way street. I started to see how much of friendship isn't about what we say, it's about how we make people feel. Do they feel seen when they're with you? Or do they feel tolerated? Do they feel safe to be imperfect? Or do they walk on eggshells? Do they feel like a priority, or an afterthought? And I had to admit, I hadn't always made people feel the way I thought I had. I was so focused on being loyal in theory, that I wasn't being present in reality. I thought, but I care so deeply. Yes, but do they feel that care? Because love that isn't felt, isn't experienced. It was hard to sit with that. It was hard to look at the friend who stopped texting and think, maybe she didn't feel emotionally safe around me. Hard to look at the one who slowly stopped sharing and ask, did I respond with presence? Or with performance? Hard to realize that I sometimes listened to reply, not to understand. And the more honest I became, the more I saw it everywhere. Tiny moments where I made the conversation about me. Where I minimized someone's pain to comfort them. Where I offered advice when all they wanted was space. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. But harm isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet neglect. Unspoken pressure. Inconsistency dressed as busyness. So I started to shift. I started checking in not just when I had time, but when I sensed someone needed it. I started listening without preparing my answer. Holding space without filling silence. I started asking, how can I love you better? Not assuming I already knew. And most of all, I started showing up not just as a friend, but as a student of friendship. Because friendship is not a personality trait. It's a practice. It's remembering birthdays without Facebook reminders. It's sending a voice message instead of a like. It's choosing to call even when it's inconvenient. It's showing up when you don't know what to say. It's not always easy. But neither is losing people you care about, because you didn't realize you were fading. Until they were already gone. What I've learned is this: friendship isn't measured by history. It's measured by presence. You can know someone for 10 years, but if you stop watering the connection, it will wither. Consistency matters more than intensity. And love that is felt, not just claimed, is what lasts. And here's the part no one wants to admit. Sometimes, we lose people not because they changed, but because they stopped pretending to be okay with the version of us we refuse to outgrow. That hurts. It hurts to know someone pulled away, not because they stopped loving us but because loving us meant betraying themselves. It hurts to realize someone didn't leave us, they returned to themselves. But sometimes, that's what has to happen. Sometimes losing someone is the only way we learn how to be someone worth staying for. And learning to hold that truth without shame. To hold space for who I was, and who I want to become. To apologize for the ways I fell short. And to change without needing applause. Because regret isn't punishment. It's an invitation. An invitation to love better. To listen deeper. To become the kind of friend I wish I'd had when I was hurting. Sometimes we grow in silence. Sometimes we repair through presence. Sometimes the greatest gift we give isn't a second chance, but a different version of ourselves. So if you're losing friends right now, maybe it's not just them. Maybe it's not just you. Maybe it's life reshaping your relationships to match the person you're becoming. And maybe, just maybe, that loss isn't the end of connection, but the beginning of a deeper one. With others, and with yourself. Here's what I wish I'd learned sooner: that you don't have to be perfect to be loved. You do have to be present. That you don't have to fix people's pain. But you do have to care enough to witness it. That it's not about how many friends you have, it's about how deeply you know each other. That emotional safety is rare, and must be protected with presence, humility, and consistency. That people will forget your advice, but they will never forget how you made them feel when they were vulnerable. And finally, that sometimes, losing people is what teaches you how to truly value them. The lesson doesn't always come wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it arrives as silence. Distance. A name you don't see on your screen anymore. But if you're brave enough to listen, to really listen, that silence will teach you things noise never could. So if you've lost friends, ask why without defense. Reflect without blame. Grow without shame. And if you want to become someone people feel safe around, start with this question: would I feel seen, safe, and supported by someone who acts the way I do? If the answer is no, that's your mirror. That's your starting point. You can't change the past. But you can transform the pattern. You can learn to love differently. You can become a safe place. You can be someone whose presence doesn't come with pressure, but with peace. And that's the kind of friend who stays. Even if others don't. Because when you become your own safe place, you attract friendships that don't require pretending, performing, or proving. They stay, because the connection feels like home. And that, I've learned, is worth the work. And the loss. And the growth.